The wing for the Demon are going to come in 3 pieces, and they're going to be marked with a top. This is important because the bottom of the saddles are what's machined accurately. We're going to have 3 pieces to it, left side and a right side, and our center section, which it will be marked somewhere. Generally, I'll put it somewhere. This one's marked on the inside. First thing we're going to do is we're going to prep these cores, these saddles, to be used. And all we're going to do is just pull it out. We're going to slice these things in half right here. Just taking a sharp knife. Yeah, got a sharp knife, Wes. And we're going to cut the wing saddles where they're usable. And again, we're looking for the bottom pieces. The reason we're looking for the bottom pieces is because when these things are machined off the CNC machine, the bottom piece is set up accurately where it cuts out so these things match together. The tops can be off a little bit depending on the thickness of the cores, but the bottoms are machined perfectly. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take these saddles here, these things here, and we're going to glue these things together with CA. Just the bottom ones, obviously. A little wax paper, keep things from sticking to the bench. And this is where you're going to need some CA and some accelerator. And obviously make sure to line these things up to where the forms match perfectly. Oops. And you're making sure the beds line up perfectly. That's what we're looking for. Okay, now that we've got the wing saddles glued together, we've got our bed that we're going to be building the wing in. This thing's real simple. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to glue the pieces together. So in order to do that, we're going to take a piece of wax paper and cut it, put it right in the center section. And we're going to glue, make sure everything sits in there like it perfectly should, and then we're going to glue pieces together. I'm going to use CA for this, CA and Kicker. And use a copious amount of glue. CA on one side, Kicker on the other, and keeping everything flush in the saddles. We're going to glue the 3 pieces together. A lot of different types of CA. I get this stuff here from Woodcraft, which I kind of like. It's a longer application type of CA. It takes Kicker, which is helpful to have to work with it fast because it takes a while for it to set up. So the Kicker helps it, obviously you can work with it a little bit quicker, but it does give you a little bit of time. It doesn't just immediately bond like we did here. So now we got, same here, we got that center piece glued on that side. We'll put the other side on. Again, all this is real simple. It's all engineered to be simple and easy and go together straight. CA, some kicker on that side. I'm going to line this edge up here. And then we're going to push them together and hold them. Make sure everything's lined up in the saddle properly. And once we get that done, then the next step is we're going to do the spars. Okay, you're going to find for wing spars, there's going to be two 40-inch, 1/8-inch spars, and there's going to be two 3/32 40-inch spars. Obviously, the thicker spar goes up front, thinner spar goes in back. And we're going to use CA to put these in. What's going to be important is when we put these spars in, that we weight these wing tips down in the saddles, so everything is nice and flat. Make sure there's nothing underneath the wing saddles, so it's flat on your workbench. What I've done is I've marked from the wingtip, and this will be all on the plan sheet that comes with it. I've marked back 13/16 from the leading edge of the tip, made a mark here, and this is 3 5/16. I did on the other side as well. I used tape along it, and I've drawn a straight line across those, and that's the location of the front spar and the rear spar. And then these spars here, the 40-inch, we're just going to mark it off, put some little marks down there where they end at. Now, in order to install these spars, we're just going to very simply cut a slot, glue it in with CA. Again, make sure you got a knife blade that's cut nice and sharp. This is real easy. The important thing is that we just get a good cut, get the spar in there, and then weight the tips down so it's straight. So we're just going to take our straight edge, another big one here. This also puts this front spar on the right near the CG, so you'll know where the CG is at. So we got this laid out straight. Now we're just going to cut us a slot. I know you probably look at my head about now, but that's okay. Now we got us a slot cut. Go back with our knife and set our depth. Remember, got the tip sticking out, 1 click, or about 1/4 inch. Go back. Run that line. Never hurts to do it. Hurts to do it twice to make sure it's nice and clean. Be careful your blade doesn't run out. Yep, like it did right there. Probably nothing down looking at my head, I'm sorry. Now we're going to pull the center parts of this tape out so we can get that out of the way so we don't glue the tape in. Okay, the reason I leave a little bit there so I know where this thing starts at. I'll get my CA in there. I don't have any tape left on the deals. It'll show up. Now we're very simply going to take our CA. We might want to cut a little bit deeper right in the center. Okay. What we'll do is just trial fitted our spar. We'll be careful not to get some run out. I got some run out over here that I messed up on. And here, but that'll let you know where it's at. Next, we've got our spar trial fitted in there. I know that it fits real well. I'll pop it out. Thick CA, 6PA. Make sure you got a good bead of CA in there. Sorry, you're probably looking at my head again. Sorry about this long application time. It gives you a little bit of time to work with on situations like this. Out there. Oops. Okay. Stick the spar on. I'm just using a small flat blade screwdriver. Push the spar all the way into the slot. There we go. Okay. Now, weight the wingtips so it's in there. And we're going to let that dry. And we just cut out our slot for the rear one. And again, we're going to put the 3/32 spar in the back. Same way. There. We'll just let those harden, and when that gets done, flip it over and do the reverse side. Okay, back to working on the wing. Now it's all sparred up. We're going to cut the ailerons out. Just looking at the diagram comes with the plans. We're going to be measuring up from the center section joint with the center section and the wing panel joint. That's where we're measuring up from 6 inches. And then we're going to go measure out 8 inches, and we're going to draw out our ailerons, and using a triangle we want to make these cuts perpendicular to the trailing edge. So make those lines and then measure up 1 1/4 inches on each side and draw you a line. Now to cut these out, a sharp blade is going to be very important. Like a fresh blade would be the best thing to do because you don't want to tear the foam. We're going to make the vertical cut straight. The horizontal cut we're going to angle in at about a 45-degree angle. So this aileron, when it's in there, has room to pivot down. That's what's going to be important. because we're going to cut the leading edge of this aileron pretty much flat. So we have to have this be able to pivot down. So when we cut this, we're going to put our angle at about 45 degrees. So it's really easy. First thing we're going to do is we're going to make these vertical cuts. And again, also when you draw it out, I've got these things cut to 8 inches. The old adage, you know, measure twice, cut once. Make sure that your ailerons fit inside where your cutout is. So to make this cutout, it's really easy. We're going to cut these vertical lines. Now, if you still have the wing saddles, use the wing, put it in the wing saddle. That's one good way to hold it straight. I happen to give the wing saddles to Chuck so he could finish up his wings, because he had some cuts off the prototype which were a little bit different. But anyway, real simple. Put these vertical lines. The knife, if it's sharp, will go right through the foam like it's butter. Now this cut, this is the critical one. It's not that hard. You just got to make sure to do it right. Solder iron out of the way so we got some room to work over here. Very simply, I'm going to cut this line up right there, and when we cut this, just hold your straight edge in place nice and firmly. And we're going to tilt the blade in. See, this will be straight up. We're going to tilt this blade in about 45 degrees. And we're going to cut out that aileron. Try to do it in about one pass or close to it. All it'll work. So we're at 45-degree angle. We'll cut it out. Now, usually it's little edges that don't quite get it, so take your knife blade, work it up. You don't want to yank on it because you'll tear the foam. Do that. Just right on the edges. Doesn't quite get cut right. Go. Yeah, it's cut right, it'll fall right out of there. So now, as you can see, this is how I cut it out. Okay, so we've got a nice 45-degree angle facing in. So when we mount this aileron, it's got room to pivot down. Okay, that's what's important. The next step is the aileron itself. It should fit right in that cavity, nice and clean. Okay, so we're going to need to cut the aileron down because the aileron is out of 1.5 inch stock. So what you want to do, obviously, is just measure up 1 1/4. Check that it looks like it's going to match up fine. Looks like it might be off. We're going to try this. Okay, now, to make this cut, this one we're going to make pretty much 90 degree to it, just a little bit of an angle. Also, on these ailerons, there is when you look at them, there is a faced end that goes straight down. Like when it's up, it's got a straight up edge. So there's a top and bottom of these ailerons. When you cut them, it's really not that big of a deal, but just kind of FYI. When I cut this, we're just going to line up our straight edge. And we're going to cut this pretty much kind of almost, we're going to cut it at 90 degree angles, which is going to put a little bit of a face bevel on it. So line up and then run your blade 90 degrees to it. This will take several cuts. There we go. Just put in there nicely, and what we'll do is we're going to glue pins that in place, and now we've got the ailerons, we've got plenty of room to pivot back and forth. Now just do the other side. Now the ailerons are cut out, we're going to glue them onto the wing with goop. We're going to do the goop hinge. I'm a big fan of the goop hinges. Whoever came up with this idea was a genius, because it works really well. And that in conjunction with laminate makes for a really strong hinge line, but just makes it nice and firm. I just kind of like it. It's really easy to do. All I've done on this one here, this is not as complicated as some of the full-size flying wings, is I've just taken masking tape, and on each end I've come in about, maybe a ½ inch, close to it, maybe a little more on one side than the other. And I've taped up the aileron so it's flush inside the cavity there, flush with the hinge line right there. Those two ends. Now, we're just going to take a couple more strips, and we're going to make this goop hinge just a complete hinge line. Well, I think we'll just do the whole thing. And we're going to put a piece of tape on the top. Maybe about 3/8 of an inch up. Right there. And then, we'll do the same thing on the bottom. This is where the goop's going to go in. And about 3/8 on the bottom. So now we have a hinge line. Right there. What is that, about ½ an inch wide or so? Maybe a little more than that. Yeah, actually it's about closer to 3/4 of an inch wide on the hinge line. And now comes the goop part. It's real simple. We just need goop, and we just need a credit card. And if you've used one of these credit cards to goop before, just take a straight edge or straight blade and clean off the edge. This part is real simple. We're just going to take the goop. It takes semi-fresh stuff, at least stuff that's hadn't been sitting up for 6 months. Everybody's building walls probably got goop, tubes of goop been sitting around for a while. And we're going to put plenty of this goop in the center of it. We want too much, because we want to make sure we've got plenty to work in. Okay. You got to kind of work semi-fast, because this goop does set up pretty quick. Put a big thing of goop on it, so now we're just going to take the straight edge, and the first thing we're going to do is we're going to work it into the slot. Okay, so now we got a lot of goop in there. Okay, we don't want a lot of goop, but the reason we put a lot is just so we can fill in the cavity there. Okay. Now once we got that cavity filled in completely, okay, now we're going to remove the excess. And that's real simple. What happens is the tape kind of acts like a jig to give you the correct amount. So all we're going to do is just take this credit card, just place it down on top of it, and we're just going to just squeegee the excess off. There we go. And generally speaking, if you do it right, you only got to do this about one. There was a clean little edge right there. Okay. And now, actually, we can probably take a little bit more off. You don't want to do this too many times. Stuff starts coagulating pretty quick. There. So inside on the goop line there, now we should have a pretty thin amount of goop. So what we're going to do is we're going to let that set up for maybe about 5 minutes, and then we're going to take the tape off. And we're not going to just take the tape off, we're going to replace the end pieces with some smaller pieces. So we'll give that about 5 minutes to set up. Now, I've just had it set up for about 5 minutes is max. It didn't take that much longer. I just literally just went and gooped the other side, and now I'm back. All we're going to do now is we're going to take this tape off, because we don't want to let that glue get too dry. It's hard to get the tape off. So we're going to need a couple of pieces of smaller tape, and what we're going to do is replace those end pieces. Okay. So what we got to do is we got to pull these big pieces off. So to get these big pieces off, we're going to start. This is why they're taped on top, because they come off. We put these side pieces down first. Just be real careful, and peel that one off. Be careful peeling this one off. What you want to do is kind of pull away, just away from it, kind of down and away, go a little bit across. Just do it real slow and real easy. Be careful. That way. There we go. Okay. Now, being real careful, we're going to replace these end pieces with a smaller piece that doesn't go quite up to the glue line. So we're going to take this off. We're just going to be real careful. Pull it kind of away so it's not pulling the hinge out, but not yet. So, and now taking a piece of fresh smaller tape, go inside your glue line there so you're not taping on any glue. And then we're just going to kind of replace this piece of tape. That's all we're going to do. The idea is to keep it from moving. At this point you can see the glue's not moving very much. Again, we're going to pull this away real easily. Does not disturb the hinge. See, that glue's already setting up. There we go. Put this piece on there. Okay. Now what we got to do is just let that dry. And after it's dry, then we're going to paint the whole wing, is what we're going to do. Then it'll be time to assemble this airplane.